Greetings everybody, this is going to be the last YouTube video that I do for some time. I can't say exactly how long because I don't know how long it's going to take me to focus on what I want to focus on, which is my personal relationship with God, with the Lord himself, and specifically what he has begun to put on my heart over the last couple of months as Mary and I have and continue to experience very difficult and painful disruption in life. I'd like to just say in this video, I want to just be honest and say that I've just put a written post onto the community tab on this channel, and within that, if you read it, you'll see my honest and raw feelings on the state of the church. And as the state of the church articulates with an increasingly turbulent world, particularly in the Middle East. And I think even countries that are not in the Middle East are all relating to the Middle East. They're actually all relating to Israel and to the city of Jerusalem. I think as the events of Israel have begun to go up to a different level, I think this mainstream Christian reality that we call the church has become even more grievous to me. Now, I use the word grievous, and in my mind, I'm thinking of the last few verses of Psalm 139, because, as I'm sure it is for most of us, the desire daily, the prayer daily, is that there wouldn't be anything in our hearts or in our minds or in our mouths that are grievous or displeasing to the Lord. And yet, when I have contact with the mainstream, for want of a better phrase, the mainstream Christian church, whether that's because I'm trying to find a job, I'm trying to find a way of earning some income for my family, and I see jobs advertised, and I'm reminded of the chaos of the church. I'm reminded of my personal incompatibility with the mainstream and Mary's, and there is a strong visceral response internally that throws me again into the place of prayer because of the last two verses of Psalm 139. I don't want anything to be grievous or displeasing to him. Rather, as David prayed, that I would and we would be led in the way that's everlasting, the ancient way. And I've had enough. I've had enough of reading emails from people that don't get it and who aren't wanting to get it. They're not wanting to listen. I'm tired of hearing podcasts from people who ask some of the right questions, but fundamentally don't want to listen. There's a ready willingness to accommodate and include things when we should be rigid and exclusive. And that's going to be a little bit of the thrust of what I'll bring in a few weeks or even months from now when I'm prepared what I want to say. If you are in the category of maintenance, if you're in the category of going through the motions, if nothing has changed in your life, if you regularly feed at the trough of radical messages or prophetic content or just let's call it spirit-filled content that provokes and challenges but never results in any kind of change, then it's hard for me to know what to say. When people write to me and ask me what I think, when I've written a book about what I think, that's what I think. That's what I think will be required for national disaster, further national disaster to be averted. That's what I think is required for the church to be faithful. That's what I think is required for God to be honoured, which should be the burden, the weighty, heavy burden for all of us every single day. And my concern is that 99% of our time and energy will continue to be funneled into maintaining the status quo, maintaining what exists, and for virtually all of us is all we have ever known. Until there is an adopting of a posture that is desperate. Please don't assume that being desperate is not what God could ever want. And neither the indignation, hot indignation, and a repulsed, visceral response to the unrepentant church, don't ever assume that that's not from the Lord, because I think it's precisely from the Lord. And so for the time being, I am not going to be posting on here. I'm not going to be recording videos like this. I'm not going to be sharing. I'm going to be withdrawing. I'm going to be retreating. And that's because I can't keep on in myself. I can't keep on declaring what needs to be declared, and all the while what I'm hearing back is this fierce refusal to stop. And personally, I think this is the joy. This is what's so important about this, is that we know the joy of being the Lord's. It says in Song of Solomon, if you look at and read that short book, you'll notice that there is a shift in the book towards the end where the beloved is able to acknowledge that she belongs to him and that he belongs to her, and that relationship is why we're on the planet, guys. And if we're neglecting that, if we're part of a system, we're part of a church, if our family is continuing to go through the motions that dishonours and neglects that precious reality of being joined and one with Christ, relationship with Jesus himself, not the things pertaining to. If that's then I've had enough of it, and I'm not going to be replying to emails until people are willing to join me and marry in a place of desperation. Mary and I will remain in a place of desperation, which will be primarily expressed through private prayer and intercession. But until people are prepared to join in that kind of conversation that forsakes everything else that conspires against it, we're done. And I would continue to urge everyone to pray, above all things, Maranatha, unto the glory of God.